Hey guys, and welcome to the Creative Clinic. My name is Helen Hyler, and I'm your host for today's Director Masterclass. Today's session will run between 12 to 2 p.m. and will be delivered by Cornelius Walker, a writer and director who is best known for his films Father of Man, 10 Stops Away, and most recently the Oscar-nominated short Black Sheep. Hello, Cornelius. How are you?
Hey, how you doing? I'm good.
Thanks for joining us today. So today's masterclass will look at the directing process from start to finish, and we'll cover everything from storyboarding your idea to post-production. So stay logged on for some valuable information from Cornelius. And that's not all. Remember to join us for our directing and wellness panel discussion at 2:30 p.m. where we'll be joined by special guest Ashley Chin, who is an actor, screenwriter, spoken word poet, and co-director of the online hit The Essence. You won't want to miss out. But before we get into it, we do have some house rules. So we do want to see your faces as this is an interactive workshop. So please turn on your cameras, make sure you have fun, and for the best viewing experience, make sure your viewing options are set to speaker view side by side, which allows you to see the screen and our presentation slides simultaneously. And if you need to adjust the size of the split, use the slider in the middle of the screen. Stay engaged, and if you have any questions, then feel free to pop them in the chat room, and our admin will make sure your questions are answered. Cornelius, what's goody?
I'm good, I'm good.
What are you saying? How's everything?
Everything is good. Everything is blessed. I'm in a good headspace.
Perfect. That's what we love to hear here. So it is great to have you here today, delivering today's directing masterclass. Can I just ask what it was like to spud Tom Cruise? Tell me about it.
It was kind of surreal, if I'm being honest. I'm not gonna lie. Every time I think about it, I'm still like, oh right, I did actually meet the guy. But yeah, do you know what? He's really humble. So you would think that he's a star, but he actually makes you feel like the star.
Okay.
So it's like, yeah, even that moment, I was just like, oh my gosh.
He was starstruck, but he kind of humbled. He humbled himself.
Yeah, it made me feel like him.
Okay, so you worked on some really great projects from 10 Stops Away and your most recent project, the Oscar-nominated Black Sheep, which you also starred in. It tells a very personal and important story, and your projects seem to have like a relatable human feel to them. Yeah. Is that a conscious choice?
Yes, it is a conscious choice. I guess I'm an emotional person in general, but I just feel like as a filmmaker, I guess we kind of get this chance to kind of create propaganda, but in a good way. And so for me personally, I just always want my stories to be able to touch someone. Like what even inspired me to do film in the first place was I watched a film called Into the Wild, and I just said to myself, whatever this film made me feel, I want other people to feel that way. So I always want people to feel something. It doesn't always have to be deep. You can have a laugh, feel a bunch of things, but just to feel something and say something, it matters to me.
So we actually have a show reel that we'd like to show our online participants. Let's take it away.
Come on, stop moving, man. I got places to be.
Can you step aside, please?
You're in the wrong house.
Excuse me.
I think I'm gonna go chat these kids, Need some headphones, a phone. Might as well get it for free, innit? I touch wouldn't be bad
Stay in this room while we conduct the search.
You ain't gonna find anything.
We'll see about that.
What do you mean we'll see about that? What are you trying to say?
Look, John, just stop for a minute. There's got to be a misunderstanding.
Yo, guys, I think we should get off the next stop, you know, and walk.
You scared a lot of people. I didn't think I was that important.
Important enough to get in trouble. Now, come on, we've got to take you back. For? In a bit, G.
That was amazing. Well done.
Thank you.
Really good work.
Appreciate that.
So storytelling does play a big part in your role. You kind of did answer this question earlier on in terms of like the inspiration you do get. Let's talk about your biggest project so far, Oscar-nominated Black Sheep. Where did you go about finding inspiration for that one specifically? I mean, it is recognized by big Oscar when you've got to drop the gems for us.
I wouldn't even say that's not even inspiration. I think for me, that was more like, how can I help people?
Okay.
If that makes any sense. I think if you want to say inspiration, that would be it, like wanting to help people. Because Black Sheep, I have to go into past traumas, I have to go into like things that have affected me growing up. And it wasn't as if let me tell you guys, this is my childhood, is what. Nah, I didn't want to.
Okay.
But it was the idea of, do you know what, there's people out there who've kind of been through what I've been through and I can help them.
So almost like a self-help book, but in the movie.
I guess so, because my friends, obviously I've lived in several places, but when I lived in Essex, it's probably the longest place I've lived. And when I catch up with my friends now, they're like, hey, like, why don't you ever tell our stories? Like, why don't you ever tell like stories from where I'm from? Like, there's so much things that people can learn from what we've been through. And I'm just like, sometimes I just want to tell them to be quiet. But it's like, you know, like when I actually, after doing Black Sheep, like he was right in a sense. Like it has helped a lot of people and it is going in a lot of places. And it got nominated for an Oscar. That was never the intention, but it did. So.
And how did you feel about the outcome? Like, obviously, did you think it would get the reception it did? Or was you like, raw, like, whoa, what's going on here?
I'm going to be very serious. I know it sounds silly to say, but I took it like an after school project.
What?
Literally.
But it's funny though, because you know the things that you think wouldn't, like, you know, go off, it's those ones that are like, okay, I literally spent like half an hour brainstorming this. Look at us here, like, you know? Yeah,
it was weird because like me and, I don't have to explain it. Like I was trying to actually tell it as a feature film and kind of not hide myself behind characters.
Yeah.
And then I met Ed Perkins and he was just like, the way you talk, I'm just like, this guy's just saying, you know, saying some things just to kind of make me happy. And I was like, I had to think about it for a little bit. So we did an interview and then I was just like, okay, let's just do this. So I took it seriously, but I never knew Ed's accolades, didn't know what he did. It was just like two filmmakers working together and just trying to make a story that that matters. I just thought 200 people would see it and then that's it.
Big Oscar came around.
Yeah, we thank God.
Yep. So, well, I know our audience is geared up to hear from you, Cornelius. So over to you for today's directing masterclass.
Hey. So, hello everybody, I'm Cornelius Walker and this will be my directing masterclass. And so a lot of people always ask me like, oh, what do you actually do for a living? What do you do? What is a director? What does it actually pertain? And it'll be easy for me to sit here and tell you exactly what that is straight away. But I actually want to know from the viewers, what is a director to you? Like I want to take some questions, I want to get some answers and kind of know you guys' thoughts on what you actually think a director is before I tell you. If you got anyone there? What is a director? You got any answers from anyone? Amani? Cool. Where's the director?
I think a director is when a director is normally the person that leads the vision, and there are two types as directors as well. There are the type that is laid back and sort of allows the actors to have an input as well as you having your input, and then there's the strict on point director that said that's right and that is strict and to the point.
Cool. I agree with some elements. I agree with that. Cool. Anyone else before I actually say what a director is or the definition of a director? We got anyone else? Mirror? I'm seeing a storyteller. I think that's very key. The lead storyteller. You know, I appreciate some of these answers because for me, like storytelling is like, before you say you want to do it, like anything turn into director, like story is what matters the most. So the fact that I'm hearing storyteller, that kind of gets me like happy. Like I'm happy with that kind of response. Works with create to create. Okay, do you know what? Let me tell you what a director is.
Let's hear it from the
Cool. So a film director manages the creative aspects of the production. They direct the making of a film by visualizing the script while guiding actors and technical crew to capture the vision for the screen. They control the film's dramatic and artistic aspects. And that is like, that's definition from Studio Binder. And anyone that actually like does directing will tell you, hey, that sounds like a clear-cut definition. But all of us that, you know, actually direct, we know that we do multiple roles. And similar to what Amari said, like we do a lot of those things. And for me, I think it comes in like different elements. Sometimes I feel like I'm a psychologist. Sometimes I feel like I'm a dad. Sometimes I feel like I have to like literally everything that's on my mind, I have to figure out how to communicate it to every single department so they understand my vision. So it's a lot of things. And so I kind of want to go through the kind of things specifically that a director needs. So the role of a director. And so there's several roles that we have, and I've kind of written specifically the roles that we actually pertain to, and I kind of want to go through that with you guys. So interpretates the script. A lot of you answered said storyteller. So if there's no story, what are you directing? So we need a story in order to direct. And for me, the story is the most important part. I can't even say to I wouldn't bring anybody on set or anyone to even come around me until I'm 100% sure that this story is worth telling. So for me personally, the story is everything. That's what starts. You can point your camera at everything, but the story is not there, then nobody's going to even pay attention or even care. Like if you can think of every single film that you love, what captures you first? It's the story. So interpreting the script is so important. And when you say interpreting a script, it's just not looking at it and saying, I like this, I like that, I like this. No, it's about understanding each and every moment and feel that you want your audience to feel from this particular scene. And there's a lot of filmmaking books, there's a lot of things, I call it the said and unsaid. So there's a lot of things inside the script that you can interpret in the sense of the unsaid can be shown visually, the said can be shown through dialogue. And so through the scripts, this kind of allows you to kind of go off to everyone and say, to all my departments, this is what I'm looking for in each scene. And so gets to the next bit, set the tone of the film. As you guys know, there's different genres of a film. We have comedy, we have rom-coms, we have thrillers, we have suspense, we have horror, all types of films. And as a director, you have to be able to clearly kind of, put that genre and that feel into your film visually. The story helps with that, Obviously, there's going to be a comedic, if it's a comedy, there's comedic lines here and there, ha ha ha. But you have to be able to place the camera with the specific shots that's going to actually accommodate the comedic timing of when that's going to actually hit home for the audience. So when we say we set the tone, we set the, and this can be in the camera movements, the style, in terms of the lighting, in terms of how dark you want it to feel, how slow you want it to feel, like the pace. And so setting the tone of the film matters for everyone. And when you say set the tone, like music, as soon as you press start on a track, that's what it's kind of like when you say you set the tone, because the rhythm of how this film's going to go, the director sets it. You basically, from A to Z, you basically know every single alphabet that's going to go into this piece that you're trying to create. So when we say set the tone, it's not also in visual, it's actually also in your attitude. If you come on set and you're groggy and you got a bad attitude, I'm telling you that from now on, like, everyone else is going to act like that. Everyone's going to be like, oh, I don't want to work for this guy. Oh, this guy, oh, did you see the way he spoke to that person? You want to make sure that setting a tone is not only in the visuals, but also in your attitude and the way that you treat people. If like, what's that saying Maya Angelou says? She says that people remember how you make them feel. So being a director is just not, oh yeah, I'm the boss, I get to tell people what to do. No, you set the tone in the film in every single department with the way that you carry yourself also. So I think that's very important. Like, if anyone believes that being a boss means that you have to be mean, that's not it. Your director is a leader. So you actually have to lead, and you have to be a good example of what a leader is. And it's very vital, because these people work for you. And if you're going to start from the bottom to the top, from low to high, some people work for free and they'll work 12 hours for you, 16 hours, and you got to make them feel like, not like it's worth it, but like they're human. So I think it's very important that just don't only think that setting the tone is just for visual, it's in your behavior also. And that leads on to working with department heads. So there's we call them head of departments or HODs. And for me, my relationship with the head of departments are very vital, because they basically they communicate your vision to everyone else when you're not around. So your cinematographer, that is the head of department for the whole camera. And so if you told him, this is the look that I want, this is the feel that I want, he's going to tell the gaffer, the grip, this is what he wants, this is what he wants, this is the look he's going for, this is the feel he's going for. So your head of departments in every single department are vital. And I would also say, just being as honest as possible, you want to make sure that your head of departments represent you perfectly, because they're the ones kind of giving your vision to everybody else. And if one person gets it wrong, whether you like it or not, as a director, you're the leader. So you take responsibility for everything that goes wrong in your film. So if that person doesn't get the shot or angle right, they're going to come back to you as a director, because you're the one that's responsible for the entire vision. You can't blame anybody. So I would say head of departments are very, very vital. And the way you communicate to them is very vital. The relationship between the producer and the director is so important. This whole workshop masterclass is done by Renaissance Studio, and Tamara's like probably one of the best producers I work with, and I can literally have a shoot on 5 days notice and my producer will save me. And that's how important they are. They basically nurture your project from start to finish and make sure that you have everything vital. So I would say, for me personally, the relationship between a director and producer is very, very important. And also your DOP, female or male, they're like your brother or sister. They help you, whatever's in this head, they help bring to the screen. So if anyone's going to ask me, what do you think is the most important relationships? For me personally, every single one, but the ones that are like this is your producer and your DOP, in my opinion. And then as we go down, working with casting directors to find talent. everyone likes John Boyega, Letitia Wright, all of these, you know, these amazing acts, but they don't enter your screen, you know, it's not an accident. They have specific, unique talents to why they're on your screen. So casting your talent is probably after you've gone through the script and you've got a wonderful story and you've worked with your head of departments, picking who's going to be in your film is just as important, because they're the people that everyone's going to see. They're the ones that are going to basically kind of put your story out there in the way they, and a lot of people are, I wouldn't say, if I'm going to be very honest, don't always be concerned with how they look. Because if you're always going to say, oh, I want, well, that guy is not good looking enough, so I'm not going to cast him, or that female's not, it's not about who's good looking, it's about who's right for your role, who's going to give your character, this character, who's going to give it their best. And I always expect from my actors personally that not only that they just read what's on the screen, but they actually contribute something. Hey, Cornelius, I feel as if, I don't feel my character would do that. Okay, why? Oh, because if he's like this, then I think he will do that. So that's why I think it's very important to like have a casting director to help you find talent, but also when you find this talent that you build a relationship with them. And then it also goes into directing, actors and camera. Your relationship with your actors are probably the most important thing. Some directors have different methods. So I can't sit here and tell you how every single director works with their actors. Like some directors are very, very visual, where it's, you know what, you just stand there, you deliver your lines, and because it looks away, I'm happy with that. And then you got some directors like Quentin Tarantino per se, he's a very performance-led, dialogue-driven director. So his relationship with his actors have to be like this, because the character development that he has in his films are very, very like high standard, and there's a lot of dialogue, and it's hard essentially to kind of give off those performances. So I'll say like directing with actors is so hard. And the only tip that I would give anyone directing with actors truthfully is just don't be afraid of them, whatever profile they may have, because not saying they work for you, but you're working with each other. So the best thing for your actors is a collaborative kind of relationship. You want to spend enough time with them as possible. And let's just be realistic. Not every production you work on is going to be high. So the low budget ones, I would always say, if you have time for rehearsals, it's important. And it's important to basically communicate and find a way to actually find out how your actors like to work. Like before I even read anything to my actors or let them read anything, I always say, hey, how do you like to work? Because the kind of guy I am, this is how I talk. If you don't like that, you let me know. How would you like me to work with you? So I would say directing with actors is paramount, it's important, but just you have to think of it as a relationship, and a relationship that's very, very vital for whatever production you may be working with. And the camera. Like I said earlier, the relationship with your cinematographer is very important. But as a director, what always intrigues me with directors is like, I can tell what kind of director you are by what you watch. Like, do you watch the old school films? Do you know the legends? Do you know the craftsmen? And if you don't, it worries me a little bit, because how would you know how you want the camera to move? How would you know what you want them? Well, how would you know? How would you have a reference? So you have to be able to have some knowledge and background and cinema history to kind of know what kind of camera movements you want, and how to kind of talk to your cinematographer to kind of give you the movements and shots that you need as a director. Like knowing your history, your cinema history, and watching films is so vital as a director. And then work with editors to assemble the film. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like post-production. And I'll say my reason for not liking post-production, because it reveals everything. It reveals all the mistakes, all the things that you didn't do right on production. And that's why your work with your editor to assemble the film is so vital. And picking the right editor is so vital, because they help shape your film. And in my opinion, editors editors are the real MVPs, most valuable, most valuable after all the shooting's done, because they're storytellers in their own right. And yeah, so, and sound and music departments, like, if I'm going to be very honest with you, we all know how music makes us feel, just listening to it in our headphones, and just on our day-to-day, how it can change our mood and how it can make us happy, and how, you know, if we're feeling sad or lovey-dovey, how music can help heighten those feelings. And it's the same when it comes to film. Music is so important, and the music departments are so important. Like I'll say, like, listen to music, and if there's a scene that you see in a film and you like, okay, I like how sound increases suspense and tension, use that as a reference. Hey, do you think you can emulate this feeling right here? And so I'll just say, like, I always tell people, like, what I used to do, I still do it sometimes to time. I used to go on iTunes and just literally go into different genres of music, just to listen to any type of music, just so if there's a feeling that I want in my film, that I can direct someone to that. But music is so important. And as you can see, there's like 6 different bullet points on a director's role. And you kind of have to be a master of all of these things. So when you say you want to be a director, just don't think, hey, I'm the director. Yeah, I'm in charge. No, you have to take that mantelpiece like a crown, because it's so important. There's so much things that you do, and anything that you skip, it will show.
Going back to what you said about, you know, having a relationship with everyone in the crew. Obviously, you said producer is the most important relationship. How long does it take you to gain a producer's trust? Like, when are they certified, basically?
Ooh, that's a very good question. When are they certified?
Because it's hard, because like, you're like the head, and if they make one mistake, then it's just, you know, like, so how long does it take you to gain their trust?
Wow, that's hard. Let me be very honest with you. Trust is a very hard thing, I think, for anybody. But I think for me, how I've gained trust with producers is them doing what they said they would do. Like, that's keeping their word. I believe in this story, and I'm going to do anything I can to make sure that we can tell this story. And when they start doing that step by step, no matter what failure happens, then that's a producer you can trust, someone that's willing to go through the good and the bad of you. Like, I use an incident, for example, 10 Stops, so Father of Man. I worked with Tamara, and literally, I think 2 days before production, the location manager calls us telling us, hey, you might not have this location. I'm like, what? But I said, tomorrow, but we already paid what's going on? She said, do you know what? It doesn't matter. It's going to work out. What we're going to do is we're going to go there before we're meant to be there. And we're going to stand in the lobby, and they're going to give us that location. Do you know what we did? We did that.
And it worked.
It worked, but what worked is that Tamara already did her job. She was just very sure that we've paid the money, we've done everything right. It's just a mishap, and it was just a curveball to kind of distract us from achieving what we needed to achieve. And so we just remained focused. But it's also like, as a director, if I'm going to be very honest with you, like, you feel a load of emotions, and there's only a few people that get to see that. And your producer is one of them. And when your producer can just sit there with you through your high and your lows and still tell you, yo, you can do this, you're going to get this done. Because obviously we put titles on everything, but we're human beings. And I think for me, building a trust with a producer is knowing that somebody's going to be there for you through the good and the bad of this production. And they're not just going to say, oh, well, it's your responsibility, you handle that. No, they want to handle it with you. It's a collaboration.
We've got a question from Rogel Myers on Zoom. He asked, on smaller budget films, does the director have to take on other roles as well?
Yeah, listen, on small productions, just say you're everything. I'm joking, but yes, I have been art director, sound. I've worked in every single department. I have a say in every department until people are paying you the money. I don't say people are paying you until you've got productions where the budget can fund those, roles and people to kind of, assist you and work with you. Whatever you need to do, you do it. But there's no excuses. You know, if you can't, and another thing I'll say to you, like, to especially up and coming filmmakers, like, look at your family and your friends around you and see their talents also, because they might just be able to assist you just for that one film. And it might, I'm not saying that they're gonna be like your film person for the rest of your life, but don't be afraid to ask for help. But when you're doing low budget projects, like, just be ready to go into other roles. I would say be very cautious of it, because it does take away, it does distract you when you're doing your productions, and you will see it in the edit. So if you are going to take on loads of roles, I think the most key important thing is how you manage yourself and your time. You have to create priority lists. Yeah.
And what kind of director would you describe yourself as? Because obviously you said someone like Tarantino is performative. You know, some directors rely on their actors. So what would you call yourself?
I would say I'm a bit 50-50. I'm like very visual, but at the same time, I care a lot about performances, because I really care about creating empathy and emotion and just connecting with my audience. So, but I do want it to look cinematic. I do want it to be cool. I do want to push myself in that sense. So I would say maybe I'm 55% performance and 45% visual, if I'm being honest.
And do you feel like, well, not just people within the industry, do you feel like directors are kind of underestimated in a sense?
I feel in this generation, directors are underestimated, yes, because we have social media and TikTok and all of these other things. It's like, imagine me waking up one morning and I say I want to be a lawyer. It's like there's years and years of things that people that are lawyers have had to go through and educate themselves on. And in this generation, it's almost as if people just wake up one morning, which you're entitled to do. You can do whatever you like. But people wake up and say, I want to be this. I want to be a filmmaker now. But there's people who put years and years and years in it. And
whereas one person on TikTok just goes viral in 20 minutes. And it's just like, I've been doing this all my life and you've done this in 7 minutes. Like, why?
Yeah, so I would say being a director is underestimated, but I think the people that know film and the proper industry and how TV and film works, they know what's needed. And you can tell in the work.
So you can look at something that's quite mediocre, but obviously has like a lot of reception from social media, and you'll be like, well, yeah, you didn't do that properly. But people are going to watch it and be like, okay, well, it's quick and straight to the point. So,
do you know what I've realized? I've realized that people actually know as well.
You think?
I don't think you can lie to your audience. I don't think you can lie to your audience. I think the audience actually knows when you've rushed this, when it's mediocre, when the story's not strong. And how do you know? Because you can tell a film, like, for example, now, and I think of comedies or black comedies, or I won't even call them black comedies, just comedies. Like The Best Man, that's probably one of my top comedy films, like in terms of, but that was done probably over 10 years ago, but it's done so well that I remember it now. And with the things that are mediocre and rushed, it's here today and gone tomorrow. So you can tell.
That's actually interesting, because I think that, let's say I'm watching someone on social media that I really like, I feel like people kind of like take away the bad bits from it, and because they like the actual person, they'll just be like, well, she didn't edit that bit properly, so, but it's her anyway, so I'll still watch it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I kind of analyze and watch audiences, and I kind of see the the feedback, and I think as long as you're authentic and you actually care about the craft, you ain't going anywhere. You still be there. They're always gonna copy the original. You know what I'm trying to say? So the copies can never be like the original. Absolutely. So the original will always last. That's the way I see it.
All right, then over to you then.
Cool. So finding your director style. And the funny thing is that when you see this next slide, you're gonna be like, what do you mean? Cool. I'll show you. So how do you find your directing style? I would say you still like an artist, and you ask me, but I don't want to be like them. I don't want to copy them. The truth of the matter is that nothing's new under the sun, but the one thing that is different is you as a person. God, yeah, it's amazing. So there's only one you. So if there's nothing new under the sun, the only thing new under the sun is you as an individual. Nobody can essentially be like you. So when I say still like an artist, it's more like, okay, I like this person's style, I like this person's style, I like this person's style. I'm gonna kind of steal those elements or look at those elements and say, okay, how can I incorporate it into my piece? But the thing is that you're not them. So you're gonna end up creating your own style, your own kind of reference. So for up and coming filmmakers, I would always say, firstly, purchase this book.
It's really good.
It's really good.
It's so short and you can literally read it whenever you want that bit of inspiration. I love it. Yeah,
it's really short, still like an artist. And like, it says it here, like what is a good thief and what is a bad thief? And a good one is one that honors. And when I mean honors, it's like I tell you, like you're gonna see in the next slide who I deem as in Nigeria, we'll say Oga at the top, like the bosses, the greats, in my opinion. So it's like you respect them. That's why you wanna, copy them or steal from them. And you study. Like I was trying to say earlier, is that if you're in this industry, don't think that because you got some visual style in your head that you're good. That don't make you good. You have to study. You have to read. You have to buy books. You have to hone in your craft. You have to develop that every single day. And as a director, the weirdest thing, you know how they say, jack of all trades, but master of none. Weirdly, as a director, you kind of actually have to know all traits. You have to know about art direction. You have to know about cameras. You have to know about stories. You have to know about sound. Not everything, but enough to be able to communicate to every single department. So yeah, and like I say, it says credit as well, remix, transfer, still for many. I could go on about the good things about this book, but I would prefer you to read it yourself. But when I say still like an artist, it actually means study the greats, learn from them, see what you would like to emulate in them, and try it out yourself. Like some people love the shot in Pulp Fiction where John Travolta and Uma Thurman are dancing and how it transitions. And do you know what? Copy it. Do it. Like even Ghost in the Shell, if you go online, there's a particular scene that's literally, they copied literally from the anime to the actual film. But you would never know because they can't emulate, they can't be the animation. They can't. So they copy that, they're inspired by it and put it in the actual film. And all of us filmmakers do it. And it's not like you'll find your own, as you young ones, let's call it, you'll find your source. You'll find what makes you in doing this. Like you can't ever be like the original. You can't, but you can find your own originality from finding people that you admire. So my people that I admire is, go on to the next one. These guys inspire me and they're nice and old. But the one that inspired, like I love Martin Scorsese for, oh my God, like I kind of grew up in a lot of different places and like, I love the way he makes New York feel. Like literally one of my goals is to learn how to speak like an American Italian. I don't know why and what I'll use it for, but he's made me want to do that. And you want people to watch your films and they want to emulate something or copy it. I would say, obviously, he does kind of, we've all watched Goodfellas. We know what the stories are about. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, they're all heavenly and wonderful like that. But it's the way he makes you kind of feel human with these characters who you wouldn't want to kind of cross in real life. And just the steady calm movements that he has, my gosh. There's one shot in Casino where he kind of just pushes in from the wall and the female character is just walking in, but the way he just kind of finds a way to push in and then just move to her, I'm just like, my brother, I want to do that. So it's like, you just want to meet people, you just kind of feel like, I want to be like that. And Martin Scorsese makes me feel like that. He tells stories about the worst kind of people in the world, and he makes them feel like they're human. And like, in the nicest way possible, none of us on this earth are perfect. And so whenever I point a lens, I just want everyone to kind of feel empathy. I want them to feel the can see themselves in that person. So that's why I love Martin. And Spike Lee, I met the guy, my brother, we need to talk because you weren't nice. But it's all good in the hood. I'm joking. I'm joking. Spike Lee's probably worse than what I'm doing now. But I really respect him because he creates his own worlds. And it's like when you watch Do the Right Thing and that opening sequence where I think her name's Rosa is just dancing. Rosa Perez, where she's just dancing and you're thinking to yourself, this guy is going to take us on a journey and we're seeing his part of New York in this opening scene. And there's something about the way Spike Lee puts culture and trends into his work that I just think are just absolutely amazing. Like, I'm not sure if a lot of you guys know, but the advertisement that you see today with Nike and everything, he's one of the catalysts. Air Jordan wouldn't be where it is if it wasn't for Spike Lee. He did all of those Jordan commercials that I guess every Nike commercial is emulating now. So he knows how to, I guess, appropriate trends and culture into film. Something I'm still learning how to do. I won't say that I have got that perfectly, but Spike Lee, I'll go at the top. I think he's amazing when it comes to that. And David O. Russell, I am a massive fan of drama comedies or drama in general, and the way he makes you feel emotion from subjects or situations that are just so deep, but he finds this kind of empathy and human kind of natural feeling in his work is something that I just want to emulate. Like when I watched Silver Lining Playbook, I was just immersed, like completely immersed. And obviously you got the performance with Jennifer Lawrence and like all of them were Robert De Niro, but it's just the way he pointed the camera and the movement, and it's just something I'm still trying to emulate. And Wes Anderson, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not a massive fan of his stories, but the world he creates, I want to create worlds like that. With the way he uses colors and hues, and we can type in on Google and you'll see Wes Anderson style. And I want to get to a point one day where you say Cornelius style. You gotta try to say, oh, like this is my style and what I do. So I'm trying to all these guys. I'm trying to be like them in my own kind of way. I can never be like Spike Lee. Can never be like David or Russell, Wes Anderson. Not because I can't be great, but it's because my name's Cornelius and you are who you are. So your uniqueness, what God's given you, is always going to shine front, and they just basically use what God's given them to shine through in their work.
I actually want to add on to that. So there's probably like the book you mentioned about Still Up Nights. I've read it myself.
Yeah.
It's very good. For an up and coming director, what do they need to do to find who they are, their identity as a director? Because obviously you said it's good to like take bits and bobs from like directors you like and just merge it into one, but those that are stuck and can't find their niche within directing, what would you say?
I would say what matters to you. That's where you start. Like what matters to me is people, emotions, feelings, and making people feel empathy. That's what matters to me. Like I'm from Nigeria and I'm Sierra Leonean as well. And since I was young, I've never been accepted fully into Nigeria culture. Like every time someone looked at me when I was younger, you don't look Nigerian. But I am Nigerian. Oh, you don't. Oh, but your last name's Walker. I've always, felt a way about that, and it's made me feel like a black sheep. So it's like I'm drawing from myself in everything I do, and the things that spark an interest or passion, or makes me angry, or makes me feel something. So when you're asking, how do you find yourself? It's like, what matters to you? Does visuals matter to you? Does telling emotional stories matter to you? Does making people laugh matter to you? Because there's so many sides to me. I just don't want to tell dramatic things where you just be crying all the time. I actually want people to be happy too. So I want people to feel an emotional roller coaster. That's my vibe. And you figure that out. And one thing I actually heard from another filmmaker is that you actually have to live. Because if you don't live, what are you telling people?
I have no experience.
You have no experience. You have nothing to actually tell anybody. It is, yeah. I went to the shop with my friends. So you get what I'm trying to say? So, but some people feel different emotions going for a show. Like some people go to shops and this bad incidents happen, and then that becomes a short film that catapults them to anywhere. So draw from your life experiences. Yeah.
Everyone does have a story to tell them.
Everyone's definitely got a story. And so, director's requirements. What do you specifically need to be a director? Artistic vision. You have to be an artist or know about art in some sense. If you, like I did, it's kind of weird. And I always tell people that I don't think I found film. I think film found me. I feel like that's what, like, I'm not good at a lot of things. But film I'm good at, and art I've always been good at. And I had a weird situation happen to me where I was kind of like a class clown in school, and I was meant to pick all my GCSEs, and I didn't do that. And my head of year actually came up to me and said, Cornelius, do you understand that you have not picked any GCSEs? I was like, yeah, was that a real thing? He said, yeah, it's a real thing. I was like, oh, okay, so what's left? Imagine what was left for me was media, ICT, and drama. And then I did art just on the side. But all of those things helped build my artistic vision.
That's really interesting. So it was just by chance. It was just, they were the ones that were just left and you just had no choice. So.
Yeah, but we say it by chance. Me, I say it's God. You know what I'm trying to say? Some people say it by chance, but I think that was God. And like, I picked communication studies to kind of, I didn't know why I picked communication studies, but everything I picked kind of helped me communicate with people and actually just kind of figure out my thoughts. And I always used to, I know some people can relate to me. Like, I don't know who ever watched Dragon Ball Z, where you just get home and you copy, you print it out like Goku or Super Saiyan 3, and you just sit there for hours, just like drawing it for no reason. No one asked you to do it. You're just sitting there drawing. All of those stuff builds your artistic vision. But I would also say knowing old art as well. Like I just sit on Google sometimes and I just type in North Korean artist or North Korean photographer, Nigerian artist, African artist, just to see the art that came before me. Like you need to like have an idea of art so you understand what feeling and what pictures you want to paint. So I would say like study art, and as a director, if you want to know what kind of art you can study, it's all forms. It's photography, it's visuals, it's design, it's anything that you would encompass under art. That's what I say study. I draw from everything, even like typography, like people that do those, I call it weird, but like even people that do work art with just bubbles or anything, I look at everything just so that my mind can kind of be everywhere. So artistic vision is important because how else are you going to be able to tell the story in your unique way if you have no vision of art or have any artistic knowledge? And then critical thinking. Why we say critical thinking? Because I know people like to think that we're just artists and all that stuff, but we problem solve for most of it. And critical thinking in the sense that you need to understand what it's going to take to be able to create this artistic vision. So being able to critically understand what it is you're trying to do is so important. And that kind of ties in my opinion, with problem solving skills. Like the person asked earlier, what roles you have to take on when you're doing low budget. Everything. That's problem solving. If there's a problem, you solve it. As a director, if the problem comes up, it's not your job to say, but you didn't, oh my gosh, what's going on? No, you have to solve the problem. You actually have to solve the problem. Like if someone comes up to you and says, the lights bust down, we can't do that shot. Okay, cool. What lights do we have? The actor is going to be 1 hour late and we can't do that shot anymore. Okay, who's here? What can we do? Our camera's going to be arriving an hour late. Okay, what's here right now? Can we set up production design? Can we do rehearsal with the actors? What can we do with the time that we do have? So problem solving is so important. I remember a father of mine, literally, our van full of equipment was, I think, was 2 hours late. 2 hours. And I just literally walked up and down for a second. I was like, okay, cool. What we're going to do is whatever is here, that's what we set up. Whatever's here, that's what we set up. Literally. Tomorrow's like, tomorrow, like, I'm not gonna lie, that's what I said, producers are important because them also, they come with the problem solving. Tomorrow, like, for me, she is like, probably in terms of problem solving, if you have an issue on Corny, we just do this, we just do that, we just do this. So I'm just like, okay, cool. So I would say that your producer helps you a lot with that also. Like, just to tell the story, literally our whole van with kit was 2 hours late. And we just said, you know what? We have our actors here. We can do rehearsals for a bit. We basically have our art department team. We can set up the art and everything that pertains. We can make sure that we know exactly what's going to happen throughout the scene. I spent time with my DOP, I spent time with my actor, I spent time with the extras. And we finished, I think, an hour early because we didn't panic. We just problem solved. And so we even like said that, oh, we got an hour, cool. We can take a time, everyone pack up and all that kind of stuff. But we were running 2 hours late. So we just problem solved. And that actually helped us finish on time. So when I say problem solving skills is vital, it's because you have to manage so many departments. And yes, for the people that do start off, the low budget side, you're not going to have that many departments to have, but it teaches you to understand or communicate the problems that you can solve while you have the minimal crew. So it's like if someone says, oh, we don't have the car for the scene today. Can I use my mom's car? Or does your friend have a car? You just think of anything you can possibly do to get your shots. And I think problem solving, if you have those skills already, God bless you. So another thing is communication skills. My gosh, if you cannot communicate, your shoot is not going to function. And if I'm going to say it to the basics, I would say if you can't firstly communicate on paper also, because I know you guys have done a masterclass on mood boards and doing visual decks and treatments and that. And I think that's so important. If you can't visually put your references on a deck or PowerPoint presentation to say, hey guys, I want to do this, I want to be like this film, I want to, translate my idea on paper for these people to see it, I'm telling you, you're going to struggle. So I would say learn how to communicate on paper, your ideas on paper. We have this thing called, I learned this thing called 135. And it says that if you can't explain your idea in one word, 3 sentences or 5 sentences, you don't have an idea. So I kind of take that on when it comes to my visuals as well. If it's taking me 10 sentences to explain what I want to visually do, you might not know what you want to do. You know what I'm trying to say? So I think it's very important to learn how to communicate on paper and obviously face to face. If you're rude to your crew, like I said earlier, they're going to smile at your face and just take their paycheck. They're not going to work hard for you. You don't want people that just hear, hey, we got 2 hours left. If this goes over, I'm charging double rate. It's because you spoke rudely to him. So it's like how you treat your people you work for. Anyone that's been on my set, I don't care if you're a runner or whatever your role is, I treat everybody the same. Some people don't even know I'm the director until I tell them. That's how, as humble I try to be. And my goal is not to make you guys, anyone feel like, oh, I'm higher than them, I'm better than them. That's not my priority. So, but communication skills are vital in every single department because you need to be able to actually translate and say your vision. And I would say communicate nicely. And yes, you can be stern. And yes, you can be stern nicely. And yes, sometimes you do have to kind of go, but please try and always be respectful in doing that. And even if you do because I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say, oh, I'm a nice guy all the time. I'm not, but I do know how to apologize. So you have to be able to sometimes say, I was wrong or I don't know. And another thing I do want to say to especially people coming up in the industry, like, because you're the director doesn't mean you know everything. It doesn't mean you know everything. Because you're the leader, it doesn't mean yeah, I got this, I know everything. No, a leader is actually someone that can admit I don't know and say, hey, what do you think I should do? The main thing is for you to be a decision maker, but it doesn't mean that you can't get other people's help in making that decision. So that's why I say communication is vital, because sometimes I've just literally stood there and been like, I don't know what I'm doing. And my DOP would be like, oh, let's just do this. And then I'm like, oh, thank you so much. And I could just have just like a little blind spot in that moment. But because I've allowed the DOP, not allowed, but I'm able to listen to the DOP and able to like, he's able to communicate with me. I take his ideas on as well. But also, it's not everybody's idea you should listen to. So you got to be very decisive in who you allow to talk to you and who you allow to kind of be in your ear, because someone might say to you, you should do this. And then you get in the edit room and be like, why did I listen to that person? And then, you know what, you know who's responsible? It's you as a director. You're the person you're going to say, but you're the director. You didn't have to listen to me. But you told me to do that. Yeah, I did. But it's your responsibility. So I just want you to just bear in mind this. It really is your responsibility. And lastly, I'll say management skills. And for me personally, this is something that I'm even learning now as well, but managing your time, your resources, people, and money. If you got time, I would even go and learn what management is, because it will really help you understand how to manage the people you work under. And like, obviously, some people that work in retail, you know, you see a manager, you hate them sometimes. But you don't know how important their role is. And as a director, like we said, you do manage the artistic vision, but you're also managing a ton of people, their time and their resources and money. So understanding management is so important. It's so vital. You don't even have to know everything about management. Like I even listened to this 1 hour video on management this winter, and it was so important. So that's why I put it as management skills are very important.
Can I just ask you, in regards to communication?
Yeah.
There's probably some people here that might want to do some work experience or internships at production companies, and you know, directors are kind of seen as snobs in a way. No shade to you, nothing to you, but you get what I'm trying to say.
I'm bougie sometimes.
Bougie sometimes, we like that. With communicating, let's say the director comes across as a bit rude or obnoxious, and obviously that young person is very new to the environment and they feel a bit disheartened and discouraged. How would they tackle that?
Ooh.
Because it's a bit of a sticky one, because I've been there myself and I was like, okay, well, this is the big boss, so let me just shush my mouth and continue. But obviously there's a borderline. You said you've got to be stern in a nice way. So how would they combat that?
Oh, wow. That's actually a really difficult question, because it's like people are different. I think for me, I've come to understand that people are human beings. And I think a lot of people deal with pressure differently. And so sometimes you might think someone's being rude to you, but they're just really, really stressed out. And they might just use that moment to take it out on you. So I would just say, like, I think forgiving quickly is a good step. Because whether you like it or not, you want to get to where you want to get to. Another thing that I would say also is maybe speak to the first assistant director or second assistant director or the producer or assistant producer. Try and figure out ways and methods that maybe you can approach a director differently. Or maybe sometimes, I know a lot of people think they should make friends with the director, but make friends with the producer. The director is most times hired by the producer. So if you make friends with the producer, at least as you're trying to learn, they can keep giving you jobs that you can experience different directors. So that's a little tip here and there. I would say it's not always a director you should be trying to cuddle with. The producer is a secret weapon that people should be kind of cuddling with, because they're the ones that say, hey, I need some crew. Who am I going to be crewing up to that? So it's like, sometimes just don't only think that you can learn something from the director. Just because his name is director doesn't mean that that's the only person you can learn something from on production. I would say also broaden your mind and thinking, okay, this director is quite difficult. Do you know what? I don't think it's gonna work. So what other skills can I kind of learn from in this production and this situation that I'm in that might help me in the future? Or maybe me being in the art department might work today, or me being in the camera department might work today. So if, just to say there's a situation where the director's not budging, it's difficult, maybe think of another department that you can pick from that can help you for your future.
Yeah, not all experience is good experience. Bad experience, you learn from it and then you take it on to the next.
Yeah, I guess for me, I've always kind of had issues with authority, and I've always wanted to be like quite the kind of laid back kind of authority guy. So I generally don't like making people feel bad. You know what I'm trying to say? It doesn't make me feel good. So I'm approachable. Doesn't mean everyone else has to be approachable. You know what I'm trying to say? So, but it's other places you can learn from. Like I've had situations where the directors are complete, you know, not the nicest, but I realized, oh, I want to learn from the art department today anyway. Let's go there. So yeah,
Definitely.
make friends with producers.
Introduce to your besties.
Literally. Production. So I see production like The Prestige. Film is a story in 3 acts. And so let's go through the 3 acts. So stages of production, we got pre-production, production, and post-production. So pre-production is everything that kind of happens before we say, hey, action. So pre-production has the script, storyboarding, managing department heads, auditioning and casting, rehearsals, shot lists, and gearing up for production. And script, as I've said earlier, is the story. So you want to make sure that your story's right or you're happy with it, because we all have different tastes, let's just be honest. So you want to make sure that this script is your taste. Yeah, this is something that I want to direct. This is what I want to put my time into. This is what everyone's putting their money towards. Yeah, this is the script. Let's go for it. Just saying, storyboarding, it costs. So it's not going to be for everybody. Do you know what I'm trying to say? But I have put a reference for storyboarding just to kind of give you guys an idea of what it can do and the, you know, how good it can be for production. So here is listen, I'm gonna be very real with you, yeah. See, each of these storyboards, it was £20 per square box.
Per square box.
Per square box.
Wow.
So as you guys can see, there's 4 of those right there. So I had to limit, you know, the rest of it had to be kind of imagination. Okay. So what we did here, I just said to the storyboard artist, and as you can see, some of them are shaded, some of them are not. The extra money, you guys trying to say. So just me being humble as possible. So literally from 1 to 4, I basically said, this is the opening shot. I wanted to start on trees and the camera just kind of moving forward. And that's why you have the arrow to kind of show the direction in which the camera is moving. And then I kind of wanted to see, the number 2 is, I wanted to see the main character's head. And there's no arrows, there's no nothing. So that's another shot. And obviously, like I told you, the money. So I had to basically imagine the next steps of what I wanted to see. And so the 5th one, the next board, is him running from the side. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to get that though, and which you see in the next tape. And then the 4th is the ending position. And so obviously, I wanted to try and imagine how the opening shots. But why this really helped me was because I just literally brought this board to my cinematographer and Steadicam operator, and I said, hey, these are the shots that I want. And this is what I'm trying to envision. This is what I really want to do. And literally, we just went from looking at the boards to just getting it done. And it also helps you visually to kind of capture wanting to do a lot quicker. This is done in pre-production. You don't do this, you know, the day before the shoot. Yeah, this is done way before, so everyone kind of gets an idea of what you want to do. So, and even for costume as well, like storyboarding helps so many other departments also in knowing what to have and what to bring for that specific scene. And on the next board, I actually show you, so from storyboard to actual film.
I was once a boy, looking to become a man. I was once unwise, looking to find the light. Now I am grown and strong and wise. Or are these just the ravings of a scared little boy?
I like it.
Literally, if you go back to that storyboard thing, page. And literally, if you remember the video, the film, if you want to watch Father of Man, it's on YouTube or it's on my website, Cornelius.com. Father of Man's there. But just to kind of give you guys an idea of how storyboards can be of use to you, you guys saw in the video, it started on trees, and it went to my main character. I didn't get him from the side. What I did instead is I kept it on the set number 2 shot and I just pulled out wider. Mm-hmm. And so literally what the storyboard helped me do is kind of create a skeleton in order for me to understand the shots that I wanted to get. And so that's how useful storyboarding can be in terms of thing. Obviously, it's each to their own. Like, I wish I actually did another thing. If you go on Google in your spare time and you type in Martin Scorsese's storyboards for Taxi Driver, this guy just drew artistic stickmen. That's what he drew, stickmen, and they look nice. And it's up to you how you can do on low budgets. Don't let anything limit. You can, if you got skills in drawing, you do that. If you got like my brother is an amazing drawer. If I really went storyboard, just get him to do it. So there might be people close to you who can help you draw things and just get that done. But it's each to their own. Like however you want to, do your pre-production, you do it that way. But I would say, if I'm going to be I didn't ever even think I could have a storyboard. Tamara actually suggested the storyboard artist, and I was just like, oh, okay, go. And not gonna lie, it was the most beneficial thing that we did. And for me personally, if I ever get the opportunity again, I will do storyboards. So yeah.
And for those, you obviously mentioned that it's useful to have people around you that are good at certain things, like you said, your brother's drawing. So let's say you haven't got a network of people around you that might be interested in what you're doing. You might not have someone that can drive you to somewhere that can draw. What can you do? Where can you network to get people around you?
It depends, because let me not lie to you, I'm Nigerian. We don't believe in no. If that makes sense. Yeah. Nigerians don't believe in no. We believe by fire and force. If we want something to happen, you will make it happen forcefully. Like we don't have anything in our body that tells us no. You find alternative, you find a new way. So that's the spirit that I have. I don't even understand. I don't know how to spell give up. I don't know how to spell it. I even struggle to say it. So the thing is, if I'm going to be very honest about all the comedicness, but it's just make friends. So I would say basically just I didn't go to film school, but I made friends with people that went to film school because I knew that they would have equipment and they would be able to help me out with some things. So I would say network. And obviously during COVID, it's hard. So it's easy to say, oh yeah, I'm gonna go network. But you can go on any social media, find out what people want to do and just communicate with them. Yeah. So I would say there's always a way. For me personally, whoever goes to film school, you pay 20K. You're not paying that for education. You're paying that for the people you meet. I always tell people, if you don't know what you want to do, you don't go to university. It doesn't make sense. Every successful person that I've read about, or most of them, they basically, whenever they went to high school or college, that's where they met the person that they established a business with. So it's the same as you go with film school. You make your friends that may essentially be your film buddy for the rest of your life. If you see Spielberg's work, IMDb, if you want to find out film directories and who people work with and specific details about production, IMDb, check Spielberg. Doesn't change his cinematographer. He only changes him if he's not available, because he's built a network of people. Just there's no excuses. Just go out there and make friends. Like I'm telling you this now. Anyone that knows me from my teenage years can honestly confess to you, I was shy. I didn't like talking to anybody. I was introverted and just always to myself. But I loved film so much, I had to break out my shell. So if you love it, you find a way. And I'm not saying, and please just don't go emailing anybody saying you have to help me. You know, I'm trying to say, make friends and make friends of your age and try and get a mentor also. And don't do it just because I want something from you. I think the most genuine thing you can do is just say, this is what I'm interested in. It'll be great to learn from you. If a friendship stems from it, it stems from it. Like if you try and force things and try and use people, that's not for me. You don't use anybody. You build relationships with people, and that's more natural. It's more pure, and you both will benefit from it. When you try and use people, that's for me personally, that's not right. So yeah. And yeah, wait, sorry, if we go back to the list. If we go back to pre-production. Yeah, and then I spoke about it earlier, managing department heads, part of pre-production. In this stage of pre-production, this is you basically giving everyone your vision and what you want for the film. That's what happens in this stage of pre-production. You're essentially managing each head to basically say to them, hey, this is the vision that we're creating for this film. Auditioning and casting, you go for a stage where you're picking your actors. Obviously, the low budget ones, you have to go and find these actors. Me personally, I would say try and find, sorry, I don't actually, it's skipping my mind at the moment, but there's sites where it has actors like from all levels that you can go through. Me personally, don't always use Instagram as your casting device. That's me personally. I wouldn't say Instagram should be a talent search. I would say try and actually find people that actually want to be actors and have actually taken the time out to make acting profiles and mix it up. You know, I understand for some people, Instagram is where you can find talent. I'm not disputing it. I'm just saying try and find all different kind of sites where you can find people willing to do paid and not paid work. Just don't depend on social media, please.
It's funny you say that though, because I feel like in this day and age, a lot of people look at followers as an alternative to talent. So you look at you have someone who's dead talented, very talented, and they've got 50 followers, and you've got someone who's just pretty base with 200k followers and a blue tick.
Yeah.
And it's all about, getting the ones that are current. So it's funny you say that because I don't see a lot of that today. I just see people just getting anyone that has a lot of followers.
Yeah, and that's, for me, that doesn't work. Me personally, I've gone to networking events where I've met actors. I met Tosin Cole on a Adidas party, and I don't mean to sound bougie. Not everyone's gonna go to brand parties and all that stuff and meet people, but I'm just saying you might meet some people on the night out. You can also go to acting workshops. If you go to acting workshops and you can actually meet actors there and you can discuss with them, talk to them, even participate in the workshop also, that's another way. But it's to stick to your point. Me personally, I'm really old school and I struggle to adapt to this new school. So if you got bare followers and you're asking me to put you in the film, I'm not gonna do it. You're gonna audition for my film. For me, Instagram followers don't mean you're talented at all. It just means that you're popular. And I think that your film probably do better if you had a better actor. I've seen so many Instagram people do films and enter films. And I'm not saying that they're not deserving of it, but you can't. The experience of someone actually going to drama school, someone actually taking the time to hone in their craft can never compare to someone that just picks up their phone and is practicing in their living room. There's people that actually, Damson Idris, that guy was going to identity film school. He was learning his craft and then he adapted it.
But then no one sees that side. They just see the highlight reel.
They see the highlight reel. But he actually went to an acting school, honed in his craft, wanted to be seen a bit more, then took that craft onto social media and tried to bring a, following. So that's why I'm saying, like, try and go to drama schools, try and go onto these, like, I think they put Star Now in the group, there's Star Now. Go to the actual places where these thespians actually are, because they're the ones that will work for free and work like their life depends on it.
So do you think there's almost like a format then, obviously in the era we're in today, everything's social media, so obviously go to film school, do all of that, but at the same time have a social media presence? Do you think that helps or makes the process more quicker?
I would say, like, I'm old school in it. So it's like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm still sitting here trying to figure out how do you adapt social media. I'm trying not to be left behind, you gotta try to say. But I would say most importantly is a lot of people use social media, which is fine. One mentor I had said to me that really humbled me, says, Cornelius, all the bosses you're looking for are not on social media. I said, what? I said, cool. And he said that to make me understand that you need to build your craft, because essentially that's what's actually going to draw people to you. Tiger Woods didn't go to Nike. Nike came to Tiger Woods after he became excellent at what he does. Michael Jordan, Nike did not come to him when he entered NBA. He became excellent and then the deals came. So build your excellence and then build the things that go around it. So, yeah. And then auditioning, casting, rehearsals. I'm gonna say this nicely. Obviously, when you do low budget films, like, that's what I said, management is really important, because when it came to 10 Stops Away, we had so much rehearsal time. So much that I even thought I have to stop this now, because it's a comedy and with comedy, you can't rehearse too much because you still want it to be funny. But for drama, you kind of need to rehearse certain movements and certain things. And I would say, if one secret that I would say if you want excellence in your film is rehearsals and blocking. And when you say rehearsals and blocking, the only difference between rehearsals is just with the actors, and blocking is with actors or models, but mainly for camera. So I would say both are just important as each other. If you're on set and you got a low budget thing, tell your DOP to come on time or earlier and just say, hey, I just want to block this scene camera-wise, and do that before every take. It will save you a lot of time and it will actually make your shots easier. And also especially in low budget thing, you'll kind of give the actor a bit of, you know what you're doing, so the actor won't lose their cool with you. I've had actors just look at me like there's something wrong with you. So, so you don't want to get to that kind of stage. And then shot list. I think a shot list is really good. What a shot list is that it's say you have scene 5, you basically numerically kind of have the specific amount of shots that you want from this specific scene. And it can be in order or it could be in different order. What a first AD would do is come now and say, hey, this is the order that I think it might work. So the order that you pick might not even work. But shot list really helps because it now allows you to know what kind of shots that you need before you even turn the camera on. So I think a shot list is very vital. Me personally, I write a shot list and I don't use it on the day because I memorize it. And I don't memorize it intentionally. It's just that I go through it so many times that it's just all up here. So I think that's another good thing, that doing a shot list actually makes you memorize everything that you're trying to envision. And then also, first ADs have done this to me so many times where I have a number of shots that I'm trying to do and they're like, hey, we ain't got enough time for that. I'm like, okay. And they say, oh, where's your shot list? I thought you had it. Yeah, here's a shot list, cool. You have to eliminate 3 shots that you can't have. Excuse me? You have to take away 3 shots because we ain't got enough time to do all the shots you want. And then now you have to start getting into critical thinking and problem solving. And you have to now say, oh, okay, do you know what? We don't need that shot because we kind of have that shot. And what I can do is push the camera back so that we can get that shot 2 in 1. So we can actually do that in 1 take. Cool, eliminate that shot. we can't get that close up, but we had that shot before and we can just kind of make it tight in post-production. Cool, we don't need that shot. So shot list actually kind of allows you also to basically just just in case time's not there, allows you to kind of figure out what shots you've already taken and what shots you may not just need to get rid of just because of time. So I think a shot list is like a very good skeleton for you to know exactly what shots you at least want to try and get in the scene. And then gearing up for production, like I said to you, for me, the producer-director relationship is very vital. You're with your producer from beginning to end of the production, and they help you gear up for production and also help you kind of, I guess, help you pick your crew also, because like you don't want to work with people you don't like, but that may happen. It doesn't matter. But your producer just kind of really helps you understand the production needs. If you're going over budget, you need to maintain the budget and just keeps reality in check for you. That's what I would say. So production. This is my favorite bit, if I'm being very honest. Man likes the pre-production or certain elements of pre-production, but for me, I'm on heaven when I'm on production. So main production is directing the cast and camera. But this is where all the rehearsal, all of the management you've been doing before, all of the hypotheses and all of the estimations you've been making is actually being used. We're actually going to do what we've been talking about for a couple of months now. And for me, why I put management as second, because although you've been kind of estimating and you've been kind of assuming this is what you want to get, you have to manage all of those predictions and actually make them happen in each department. Every department is so vital and you have to be able to manage it. Like you could get a scene ready and like, lighting's like, the light come off. Okay, yeah, replace it. How long? Yeah, 10 minutes. Hey, sorry, basically we've run out of this red curtain that you like, but we got orange. Okay, let's just use orange. Your DOP, yeah, the lens that you wanted is broken. Okay, do we have a 40 mil? Yeah, let's just use that instead. So you have to manage all of these things to create your vision, which is why I say management is so important, because you have to be able to manage all of these circumstances, all of these things in every department that's going to come about when you're doing, your job and directing the cast and camera. And also with directing the cast, you need to understand that your actors, this is their heaven also. And like, you need to, like, some actors need you to give them, how did I do? Did I do all right? And yeah, you did wonderful. I love that performance. And some actors like, yeah, was that good? Yeah, you did. Are you sure? Yeah. Okay, next take. And some actors are like, oh, you done yet? We got the shot. I'm sure we have the shot. So you have to manage all of these different personalities as you're doing this take. And you might have four different characters in this one scene, and you have to be able to manage every single one of them and direct them to get the performance that you want. And so directing your cast is so vital. And that's why I say spend time with them. And also, if you have a film where it's like a relationship or a group or a bunch of people, get them to spend time with each other, because that way they will kind of uplift each other while they're on set. I think one amazing thing that I had with 10 Stops Away is that these guys they knew, two of them knew each other. The other ones, they spent so much time that they became like friends. And so there'll be times where I'll have my back turned, they don't know I'm listening, but it's like they'll be encouraging each other. And so you want to be able to kind of create that environment as well. And you want to make sure that you get your producer to kind of help you create that environment also, where your actors get to spend time with each other. So that's why I say management's a big key factor in all of it, because you have to be on top of all of these things. Obviously, as the stakes increase and more money comes in, it's a lot easier. And, people can help you manage and you get more skilled people. But anyone can have a bad day. So you just have to be on top of these things in all realisticness. So yeah, and post-production. For me personally, I don't like post-production. I don't.
I was just going to ask you that as well. What do you think about post-production? Because obviously you don't have that much authority in that area, I guess.
We, as a director, sadly, have authority in every area. But obviously, like with TV producers, it's all different. Like the producers in TV probably have a bit more say than you would expect. And then obviously when you work with bigger brands and different corporations, they do have a massive say in post-production. The issue with post-production for me is I am very highly critical of myself. So post-production reveals all your mistakes. Excuse me, why is there a cup in my shot? Didn't any of you think to take that cup out my shot? And now we have to get visual effects to kind of take this cup out my shot. Oh, why didn't he say the line? Like, did no one not hear him not say the line? And then you have to kind of just sit there and think, my career's over. Why didn't I do this? And then your editor kind of like, calm down, man. I got this. I can help you fix this. So I think for me, that's why it's so important to kind of work with your editor, because they have a new kind of insight into the production and they kind of give you, they're storytellers as well. So they watch your footage and say, okay, this is how we're going to piece this story together. This is what's going to work. And that's why I say, I always do this. Every production I've been on, I watch the footage. And all directors should do it. Some don't. They don't care. I don't know those that don't. So yeah, I'm not saying it's a thing, but I make sure I watch my footage, because I was in the edit room one time and I was struggling with one scene and I was getting really, really frustrated. And I was just like, do you know what? I'm going to spend some time myself and I'm going to watch the footage, and that solved the scene. I was like, why are you not using this shot that will help connect that shot? And then we were just like, oh, that's true. So I say watching footage is very vital, because it also allows you to know what you have. And your editor, like I like to say, everyone is human. People make mistakes. You don't know what's going on in people's homes. He might come in, oh, I didn't see that. Then you saw it, so you can help him out. You have to collaborate. So moving on, sound department, composer, sound design, music. Like I said earlier, you know how you feel when you listen to music. My friend always used to say, Afrobeat in the morning helps start a good day, because it's vibrant, it's upbeat, it gets your energy going, and music creates emotion. And so you want to be able to say, in this scene, this is the emotion I want to create. This is the tension I want to build here. I want to build suspense here. And music is a collaborator in doing that. And how you get these composers and sound designers to do that is by giving them references or being able to express the feeling that you want, and they can basically give you an idea of what can work. And also, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the smartest guy in the room, innit? So I'm not afraid to say to my composer, bro, I don't know what instrument you just used there. What was your intention? Because the intention I'm trying to get is this, and I don't think that flute is giving it. So don't be afraid, because you don't know musical notes and specific musical terminology, to say to them, what you just used there doesn't make sense to me in the nicest way possible. Can you explain it? And what is it that you're trying to do? Because this is what I want to do. And then you kind of find that, equilibrium. That's what creativity is, literally a bunch of collaboration in one, and I always say this, like, as much as I love to say that, I'm amazing, I'm the director, I find that really hard, because you have a bunch of amazing people that come together and help you create this masterpiece. And sometimes you just don't know things, and people are there just to save the day for you. And I think one thing I'll say as a director is just like, I don't know, it's a biblical thing for me. It's like when the disciples asked Jesus, how do you become the greatest? He said to them, you have to do what I'm doing, and you have to wash my feet. And what that means to me is that in order to be the best, you have to serve. And that's what a director is to me. Like, you have to serve the story. You have to be a servant to the story. If like, and that's why I said, if you need to do something or play a different role, it's not that you're, you know, it's not that you're lower than, it's just that you have to be a servant to that story. You have to say, okay, this needs help, so I'm going to do it. And so, yeah, I think that's directing for me. The next slide. Ooh, you get to ask me anything. Basically, I think in my head, I've kind of told you what I think directing is. And I'm very happy to take your questions for anything I may have missed, I may not have been able to say. So feel free to just ask me anything that can help you with your directing journey.
So we will be taking some questions now. So make sure you ask questions directly to Cornelius. Okay. Hi, is that Rojo?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I had a question about celebrities and like when they're being cast into films.
Yeah.
I think one of the main example for me was Kidulthood, or the most recent, or Off the Free, where they had like Stormzy and everyone else in that film.
Yeah.
Do you feel like directors cast celebrities because they've got clout and they're well known, or do you think they cast them because they genuinely believe that they can put in a performance?
It's 50-50, you know, because you have to realize that when you're working with a studio like Lionsgate or Universal, they have a say, and you don't always get to just say, yeah, I want this, I want that. There's a bunch of people who put money into a project that also have a massive say also. But you do have a say in it. Me personally, I would understand at the time why you'd want to put Stormzy in it. Oh yeah, he's a popular grime artist. I was about to say king of grime, but he's not. And yeah, but what do you call it? He has popularity. But for me personally, I would just suggest to the label, is there another good artist that can actually act and be better suited for this role? Or can we give Stormzy, as we're using him as an example, can we give him more, like, can we get him an acting coach? Because what we can do, I think sometimes, is that like, even us also, is like, why put someone through that situation where people may not think that they're going to do a good job? We can help them and assist them by getting them acting coaches and take a bit longer with them to say, hey, you know what, let's get you an acting coach to do this job, this role properly, because where you're coming from is music and it's, quick performances, but what I need from you is emotional. So sometimes it's like easy to laugh at someone and say, oh, they're not doing the job properly, but also it's up to us to say, I'm gonna spend a bit more time with you to basically make you better.
Sure.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, no worries.
Next up, we've got Oriana. You there, Oriana?
Hi. Thank you so much. Just wanted to ask a quick question. I wanted to ask, what is your advice in mastering your craft without going to film school?
Ooh, I didn't. My film school story is a bit peak. What I would say is it's harder. It's really hard. If you're not gonna, the only reason I would say go to film school is because you get to meet like-minded people, and you get to basically build with those like-minded people and create a network. If you don't go to film school, you have to search for these like-minded people. So what I did is I didn't go to film school. So I got kicked out of film school. And so what I did is, what I basically did instead is I was like, oh, what's the top film schools in London? And I went to go find people that went to those schools and made friends with them. And I was lucky enough with 10 stops away, actually, no, the father of mine, I was lucky. The DOP actually reached out to me and said, I'm in film school, because he saw my previous work. And then because he was in NFTS, he then brought a bunch of his film students to help us out. So I'm just trying to say that you could just make friends with people from film school and they can bring their friends to kind of journey your projects. But if you don't go to film school, I would say make your own projects from now. that's going to be your only kind of currency or your value. What I did essentially is save up a bunch of money and just write my own films and made them. And like some of those films are still being used for screenings today, and I paid for them myself. So I would say make a short.
Cornelius, a question I wanted to ask was when you did your first professional project, how did you manage? How did you cope?
When you say professional, you mean a client or?
Yes, for a client, yes, or even for yourself.
How did I cope? In what sense? So just so I can answer to like, you know, best of my ability.
Yeah. So how did you deal with it? Was you very calm? And was you very calm? Was you like what was going through your mind when you did your when you directed your own project at first?
What am I doing? Like, can I even do this? And I don't think I'm ready for this. Those are the things that are going through my mind. But I always say to people, if you're nervous, it just means that you care. So I just think, honestly, like everything in your mind is going to be telling you opposite when you do your first project. Like, brother, what you're doing here, you don't deserve to be here. Oh, you think you must be dumb to think that you can actually even do this. Like, your mind is gonna be battling with you and wrestling with you not to do it. But I think personally, when I first did 10 Stops Away, I literally just said to myself, I think this is funny and I just want people to see this. And I just wanted to enjoy my own project. I just wanted to do it because I wanted to watch it. And I think that's what you have to focus on when you do these projects. When I did my client thing, I think the nicest thing to say to you is that, like, you might see me here calm talking to you, but there's a raging storm within me. You know what I'm trying to say? It's just how you manage that raging storm and how you keep composed. A lot of people think, oh, he's so calm, he's so relaxed. Yeah, on the outside, you know, but you don't know what I'm telling myself on the inside. So I'm just saying that so you don't think that people are superheroes and that people don't get anxious or scared. Just people know how to just deal with it in simple sense. Me personally, like, I don't talk this fast normally. So that's my way of dealing with it. But what I'm trying to say to you is that just remember why you started doing it, and that should be good enough. Like, I've been on situations whereby the client is doing my head in. I feel extremely annoyed. I don't want to do this anymore. And then I just have a friend that I just vent to, and then I get back to work. Yeah, I'm trying to say, you just got to remember why you're doing it. And that kind of helps everything, I think.
Okay.
I hope that helps, answers your questions. But like, I feel a lot of things when I do projects. I pushed back my first film so many times. I just said, no, you have to do it. Just do it. You got to fight through fear.
That is true. That is true.
Do you have anything else to say?
Hi, Cornelius. Can I ask a question?
Feel free.
Hi. Just like to say thanks. It's been amazing. Really got a lot of value from your conversation today. Just want to ask though, as a director, what have you, your director journey, what have you been surprised by, either positively or negatively?
If I'm going to be very honest with you, I've been surprised by how hard it is to just get your story out there. And I've been surprised by how intrinsic and how detailed you have to be in every element of every stage. And I've been surprised with how much I need to actually know. And I've been surprised with how much some people don't even know and still in higher positions.
Wow.
So yeah, like I would say, yeah, everything surprised me in this industry, if I'm going to be very honest. I think the thing that surprised me the most, this is my 10th year doing this, and it's just making me realize, I just feel like I'm just beginning, and I'm just realizing you just have to be present, and you just have to be willing to learn every single day and learn something new and improve yourself. Like this whole COVID thing, I didn't think I'm going to write the next Charles Dickens book. I just said to myself, how do I become a better director? Yeah.
Right.
I think, what surprised me the most is just learning how to communicate in every single platform possible. So,
And how do you do that?
I think it's kind of finding out where you're not good at, or you're not good at, if that makes sense. So I'm dyslexic in it, so I struggle. I struggle with pronunciation, and I struggle with feeling confident enough to get what I'm trying to say out on paper.
Okay.
I just realized Grammarly helps.
Yeah.
And also, I just kind of admit my weaknesses to people.
Yeah.
And I realize I am a people person. I am kind of nice in that kind of sense. So that is my strength. So I think what helped me is just kind of finding out my strength and my weaknesses and being able to just kind of take criticism. Yeah, as much as it kind of hurts, but yeah.
Thanks. Very, very useful. Thank you.
Yeah, if anything else, please, if you don't feel like I answered all your questions, just let me know in it, because sometimes you ask kind of personal questions, you have to cut the shell a bit first. So. But if there's anything else I can help you with or say a bit more, just let me know.
So you mentioned that you actually, thank you, Patricia.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. So you actually mentioned that you're dyslexic.
Yeah.
How does that affect what you do?
At first, I didn't want to talk to anyone ever unless it's a phone call. It makes me I won't say I procrastinate, because I'm, just to say, for example, now, like when I started early in my career, because I would produce as well, I would basically sit there for an hour trying to construct a sentence, try and make it make sense. And that kind of deflated my confidence a lot, because it's like, I was so scared to press send because I thought it wouldn't make any sense. And so dyslexia kind of like, it made me feel like I can't do this because I can't communicate, because everyone wants you to communicate through emails. I was like, how am I going to do this? Because I don't even know if I can make a sentence make sense. And then, and so I realized it's kind of like I researched what the benefits are of dyslexia. And then it kind of made me understand I do have superpowers in some sense. So I was like, it's my superpower. And then also I've got Grammarly.
So Grammarly
it's like
that you recommend that.
Yeah, if you struggle with your sentences and then you're worried about if it's going to come across right, Grammarly is like a free software you can download on Google Chrome. And it just kind of manages your sentences and lets you know about your tone and your whether your sentence makes sense. And then obviously, I guess I was quite sad growing up, or not growing up, I'll hide certain things. So that kind of affected me when I went through some places. I struggled with imposter syndrome.
And I think we've got Kyra who wants to join as well.
Hi, Cornelius.
Hey, you're right.
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for such an informative session. Honestly, I could listen to you talk all day. It's absolutely been amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So my question to you is, as a director, have you ever had a scenario where you just couldn't work with anybody and the whole production has just kind of like gone down the drain? And if so, or even if not, what would your advice be to somebody to deal with that kind of situation if you just can't work with anybody or no one's really working together at all?
Wow. I had a production where I was not happy with a producer that I worked with, and I was ready to kind of run through a wall because I've never just worked with anyone like that. And what I did is I've never done it before, because obviously, let me just be honest in it, because we're black. I come from not saying the roads or anything, but snitching is not the thing in it. So I think this is a working environment. Man's not snitching, so I think working environment makes sense for me. So I just went to the higher up. I was just like, listen, you need to speak to this producer, because I'm telling you, I'm gonna lose it. So in a nicer way, basically, I just went to the higher up and just kind of communicated my frustrations and let them know that this is what I'm struggling with on the set, and I would like to complete this project, and this is what I need going forward. Like I said to you, I don't know how to spell quit, which is a problem for me sometimes. So I for me in that situation, I just said, I need to finish this project. So the best thing for me to do is talk to the higher up and figure out how we can fix it. And the higher up basically got me and the producer to talk. I went through my issues with that person, and then things started moving a lot better, should I say. So yeah, we completed the project, and that's what matters. And in other situations, I just always feel like if you're going to lose your integrity or lose yourself in a situation, walk away. That's what I was saying. Like, so.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
Thank you. So, based on what we've been talking about directing and everything there is to know about it. In terms of gender roles, do you feel like there are good female directors out there?
Yeah, there's loads of good, like,
talk to me.
See, I've struggled with pronunciation. Ron. She's an amazing female director. You got a new one. My friend mentors her. Her name's Charlene. And there's loads of amazing female directors. For me, I struggle with it because even me as a black one, I'm struggling to get work. So I could understand the frustration for women also from a particular angle. But I feel like you've seen it with the director of Hurt Locker. I think women bring a different kind of perspective to film and a kind of emotion and empathy to film that some male directors can't really hit. So that's my take on it. There's amazing female directors coming up. I even forgot Teniola. Yeah, she's a Nigerian female director coming up as well. But she's British, but she tells Nigerian stories mainly. And my friend's actually working with her to do her, I think, her second short film or first one. So yeah, there's amazing ones out there.
And back to the projects you've worked on, what's the lowest budget you've made with filming?
Ooh, £500.
That's low.
Yeah.
Like, when did you do that?
Well, what do you mean? £500, nothing.
So for those that are listening right now, what some of them
in the nicest way possible, because £500 is a lot of money for some people. And I don't mean that with bouginess, but like in terms of like a Hollywood script, if you guys ever have Seinfeld's How to Write a Screenplay book, he says that a script, one page of a script is $10,000 per page. So when you have £500, yeah, that's a bit small because you have to think about DOP standard rate sometimes. Like a DOP, like director, cinematographer, director of photography, a lighting technician, his rate starts at APA, what is it, like $1,000 something?
1,160.
So I don't know how I'm gonna pay someone with 500. My lowest one was 500. Use my friends' cameras, use all my friends to come and help me, and that's how we got it done. But yeah, that's my lowest if I think of it off the top of my head. But we got the job done.
That's the main thing. And for those that are listening right now that might have a project in mind but don't know where to start based on their finances, they might not afford it. Like you said, you can borrow cameras from whatsoever. Are there any places or any companies that they can look at to borrow equipment from, or anything for a considerable price?
Is it called Fat Llama? Fat Llama is a good place where it's kind of like people that own equipment pull it on the site. They have insurance and they rent it out to you. And surprisingly, I would actually say, don't actually be afraid to ask rental companies. Some of them are actually willing to give you the equipment that you want for really low prices, as long as you kind of communicate with them and be honest with them and just say, hey, this is what we're using it for, this is where it's going to go. But I would say Fat Llama is a good place to start. But don't be afraid to go to rental companies. Camera Works is an amazing one. Pixie Pixel is an amazing one. I've gone to them on Focus 24 also. I've gone to them on very minute budgets and they've been very helpful and even giving me more for the small budget I had. Not because, they they do that regularly just because they're kind-hearted and they want to help you as a filmmaker and understand it, and potentially you could be a future client. It's not like I did it and never brought them back any work. Like once I got bigger budgets, I'll go back to them. So yeah.
And what's the biggest project that you worked on, and what's the contrast like with the lowest one you worked with?
The biggest one so far is 220,000, and the contrast. What you saying, the highest and lowest, or?
So the highest and the lowest, and like in terms of like how it went, the process. What was the contrast like?
Surprisingly, the one that was highest was actually the most tiring, because there's more people there, more people involved, more people you have to answer to, more work that needs to be done, different heads of departments that need to be discussed with, different people you're talking to. So yeah, it was difficult. The lowest one was probably as hard, but less people to talk to, and less people you're responsible for, or less people that you have to kind of like, how to say, like, you know, when you work with big brands, you kind of, they don't own you or nothing like that, but they do have a say because it's their money.
Absolutely.
So it's just the money people you have to respond to.
Do you have a mentor? And how important is it to have a mentor as a director or someone within that industry? What would you say to our participants that are listening right now who might want a mentor but not know how to, you know, approach one?
I've had I had one guy before who was a mentor to me, and he really helped me in the sense of just understanding how to get through some doors and just being a bit resilient. The mentor I have now is Mr. Harriman, and I'll say it's very vital because he's the reason I met Tom Cruise. And he just literally called me one day and said, "Cornelius, what are you doing?" And I said, I don't care, just cancel your plans and you're going to be with me on Monday. I said, okay. And then literally in the car journey there, he says, "Yeah, you're going to meet Tom Cruise today." I said, "What?" He said, "I just want you to meet him because I want you to be familiar around being A-listers, because you will be one day and you'll be direct working with these people." And so I would say a mentor is important because they give you confidence. They can talk things out with you. They can give you assurance. They've done things before. They can put you in rooms. Even the Barclays project I did was through Missan. Literally just said, "Cornelius, I believe in you. You can do it." And he left me to do it. So me personally, my goal is, Missan's only requirement is what I'm doing for you, you do for others. That's his only requirement. And so that's my goal. I never had a proper mentor growing up. I just kind of had people that would talk to me, and they would, you know, tough love and that. And I've had amazing people who support me. But in terms of just having a mentor, someone that just, you know, is actually, how do I say this in a nice way? It's like someone who just literally has access and says, "Here you go, here you go, here you go." Because there's a lot of people that actually along the journey that help you and are there for you and believe in you. And it's like if they had all the access, they will give it to you, you know, but they just don't have it. So but a mentor who has it and just wants to help you is so vital, because they put you in rooms you shouldn't even be in and give you confidence. You need. Missan has just been that for me, which has been nice. And I think everyone needs a mentor. And even you can have a cyber mentor. Like you can have someone that you just go on YouTube every single day and you watch them. That's what I did growing, like when I first started. I used to watch behind the scenes, and I just used to watch Spielberg and every director, look at their mannerisms and do all of that stuff, just copy them. So there's so much. You can have cyber mentors these days, but physical ones good too.
Well, we're going to wrap up there for the masterclass. Thank you again, Cornelius.
No worries.
I've definitely learned a lot, and I'm sure our online participants have gained some gems as well.